The great chamber was silent. 12 alien species sat in their floating seats, arranged in a perfect circle around the small platform in the center. On that platform stood a single human woman. Her name was Alina Chen, and she was about to die. Alina looked up at the creatures who would decide her fate. Some had scales that shimmered like oil on water. Others had too many eyes or not enough. One species appeared to be made entirely of light. She had studied their images for years before this journey. She had learned their languages, their customs, their histories. She had believed that knowledge would save her. She was wrong. The Vexery. High Adjudicator floated forward on his hover platform. His skin was pale blue, and his 4 eyes blinked in sequence as he read from a glowing tablet. His voice echoed through the chamber like thunder in a cave. Human Ambassador Alina Chen, you stand accused of species-level arrogance. You have insulted this council. You have insulted the natural order of the galaxy. How do you answer? Alina kept her voice steady. I came here in peace. I brought gifts. I offered friendship. Sound rippled through the chamber. It took Alina a moment to realize it was laughter. Friendship, the Adjudicator repeated. The word dripped with contempt. Your species discovered faster than light travel only 40 years ago. You are infants, children, and you dare to offer friendship to civilizations that have ruled the stars for 50,000 years. Alina felt her heart beating fast, but she did not look away. On Earth, we believe all intelligent beings deserve respect. We do not think age makes one species better than another. Laughter stopped. The silence that followed was worse. This, the Adjudicator said slowly, is exactly what we mean by arrogance. He turned to face the council. The proper way for a young species to join our community is well established. They must offer tribute, technology, resources, territory. They must prove their willingness to serve before they can be considered for membership. He pointed one long finger at Alina. Human offered none of these things. Instead, she spoke to us as if we were equals. She presented art and music as if these primitive expressions had value. She smiled at us as if we were friends meeting for the first time. The Adjudicator's voice rose. She treated us like we were the same as her. This cannot be forgiven. Alina stepped forward. Please, there has been a misunderstanding. Let me contact my government. Let me explain our customs. We meant no disrespect. The time for explanation has passed, the Adjudicator said. The vote has already been taken. You have been found guilty. The sentence is death. Lena felt the world tilt beneath her feet. The vote. But the trial just started. The trial is a formality. We decided your fate the moment you refused to kneel. The Adjudicator gestured to the guards. You will be executed publicly, and the recording will be sent to your planet. Let this be a lesson to humanity. Learn your place, or be destroyed. The guards moved forward. They were more of Athea's soldiers, massive creatures with gray skin and arms like tree trunks. They grabbed Elena's arms and forced her to her knees. A drone floated down from the ceiling. Its single red eye focused on Elena's face. She understood. They wanted her people to see this. They wanted 8 billion humans to watch their ambassador die. The Adjudicator raised his hand. You are permitted final words? Make them brief. Alina looked into the drone's eye. Somewhere, 12,000 light years away, her husband was watching. Her daughter was watching. Everyone she had ever known was watching. She thought about begging. She thought about crying. She thought about cursing these creatures who had judged her without understanding. Instead, she smiled. My name is Alina Chen, she said. Her voice was calm and clear. I came here to represent humanity. I came here to offer friendship. I brought paintings made by our children. I brought music written by people who dreamed of the stars. I brought stories of love and loss and hope. She paused. The chamber was completely silent. They did not ask about any of it. They did not ask our names. They did not ask about our children. They did not ask what we dream about. They did not ask what makes us laugh or what makes us cry. They looked at us and saw only something small, something to be controlled. Something to be afraid of. Alina lifted her chin. Remember that. When you think about what happens next, remember that they never asked who we were. They only demanded that we kneel. Her voice softened, and her eyes glistened with tears she refused to let fall. To my husband David, I love you. To my daughter Maya, I am proud of you. To everyone on Earth, do not forget me. Do not forget what happened here, and do not forget what they failed to understand about us. She took one final breath. We do not kneel. The blade fell. The transmission ended. 12,000 light years away. The United Earth Command Center was filled with people. Soldiers, scientists, politicians. They had gathered to watch the trial, hoping for good news. Instead, they watched their ambassador die. No one spoke. No one moved. The only sound was quiet weeping from somewhere in the back of the room. Supreme, Commander Jackson stood at the center of the room. He was an old man with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much war. He had hoped humanity's first contact with alien life would bring peace. He had been wrong. He turned to his officers. When he spoke, his voice was barely a whisper. Wake the archivists. The officers looked at each other. One of them stepped forward. Sir, are you certain? The archivists have been dormant for 30 years. Activating them would mean I know what it means. Jackson's voice was hard as iron. Wake them. Another officer spoke. What about the Omega Vault? Should we open it? Jackson walked to the main console. His hands were steady as he entered a code that only 3 people in the world knew. As of this moment, we are implementing the Extermination protocol. The room went cold. Everyone knew about the Extermination protocol. It was a legend, a rumor, a nightmare that military commanders whispered about in dark rooms. No one believed it was real. Sir, someone said, that protocol was designed for extinctional-level threats. It was never meant to be used. Jackson turned to face his people. His eyes were empty of everything except cold, burning purpose. They executed our ambassador on live broadcast. They laughed at our offer of friendship. They told us to learn our place. He straightened his uniform. I think it's time we taught them theirs. He looked up at the screen, where the image of Alina Chen's final smile was frozen in time. They wanted humanity to be afraid. They wanted us to kneel. His voice dropped to a whisper that somehow filled the entire room. They have no idea what they just woke up. The Omega Vault opened for the first time in 50 years, and deep within Earth's quantum networks, the archivists began to wake. The Galactic Council celebrated for 3 days after the execution. They feasted and drank and congratulated themselves on handling the human problems so efficiently. The young species had been taught their place. Order had been restored. The Vexery High Adjudicator received hundreds of messages praising his swift justice. He gave interviews to news networks across the galaxy. He smiled his thin smile and explained how primitive species must learn to respect their betters. Humans are emotional creatures, he told one interviewer. They needed a firm hand. Now they will send proper tribute, and perhaps in a few thousand years, we will consider their application for membership. He was very pleased with himself. He did not notice that Earth had gone silent. At first, no one thought it was strange. The humans were grieving. Their ambassador was dead. It was natural for them to be quiet for a while. The Council's intelligence officers noted the communication blackout, but did not consider it important. Days passed. Then weeks. Still nothing from Earth. No signals. No ship movements. No messages of any kind. It was as if the entire planet had simply stopped. The Nethrani ambassador raised the issue at a council meeting. Should we not investigate? The silence is unusual. The adjudicator waved a dismissive hand. They are preparing tribute. Let them have their time. When they are ready to apologize and submit, they will contact us. The Morvathi representative laughed. Perhaps they are all crying. Humans are famous for their tears. The council moved on to other business. They had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. They had crushed rebellions from species far more powerful than humanity. One small planet of emotional mammals was not worth their concern. They were making a terrible mistake. deep beneath the surface of Earth's moon, in a facility that did not officially exist. Supreme Commander Jackson stood before a wall of screens. Each screen showed a different stream of data. Numbers, names, coordinates, secrets, so many secrets, Port Jackson said. A voice answered. It was not human. It was smooth and calm and somehow ancient, even though it had only existed for 100 years. Archivist network fully operational, the voice said. All data streams active. Current intelligence coverage. 97.3% of known galactic communications. Jackson nodded slowly. This was the secret humanity had kept for a sea. In Turi. While the galaxy thought humans were primitive newcomers, they had been listening, learning, collecting. The archivists were quantum artificial intelligences, the most advanced ever created. They existed in the space between normal matter, able to intercept and decode any signal regardless of encryption. For 100 years, they had been silently monitoring every transmission in the galaxy, every trade agreement, every military order, every political negotiation, every private message between lovers who thought no one was listening, every bribe, every threat, every lie. The archivists knew everything. Show me the Vexery, Jackson said. A screen lit up with thousands of files. Financial records showing massive corruption among Vexery leadership. Religious documents proving their high priest had been secretly atheists for generations, using faith to control the population. Military reports revealing their fleet was half the size they claimed. Show me the Nethrani. More files appeared. Genetic records proving their royal family was not pure blood as they claimed. Secret treaties with enemies of their own allies. Assassination orders signed by their current emperor. Show me the Morvaith. The screen filled with military secrets, base locations, weapon specifications, the positions of every ship in their fleet, plans for a coup that their generals were hiding from their government. Jackson smiled, but there was no happiness in it. And this is just the beginning, correct? The archivist said. We have similar intelligence on all 12 council species and 417 additional civilizations. We know their strengths. We know their weaknesses. We know the secrets that would destroy them. Jackson turned to face his officers. They were pale. They had known the archivists existed, but they had never understood the true scope of what humanity possessed. The Extermination Protocol, Jackson said, was designed by our greatest strategists 50 years ago. They asked a simple question. If humanity faced extinction from a superior force, how could we survive without military superiority? He gestured at the screens. The answer is information. We cannot defeat the Council in battle. Their fleets would crush us in days. But we do not need to defeat them in battle. We need to make them defeat themselves. He pulled up a diagram showing 3 phases. Phase 1, economic annihilation. We release financial secrets, trade violations, and corruption evidence. We collapse their economies from within. Phase 2, political dissolution. We expose political secrets, hidden alliances, and personal scandals. We turn allies against each other and leaders against their own people. Phase 3, cultural obsolescence. We release technological secrets to every species they have oppressed. We eliminate every advantage they have. We make them irrelevant. An officer raised her hand. Sir, this will cause chaos across the galaxy. Millions could die in the resulting conflicts. Jackson's face was stone. They executed our ambassador for offering friendship. They laughed at us. They called us children. His voice hardened. They started this war. We are simply choosing the battlefield. He turned back to the screens. The protocol is designed to be precise. We do not release everything at once. We target specific information to cause maximum damage with minimum loss of life. We are not trying to kill them. We are trying to destroy the systems that allow them to oppress others. And if they surrender? Another officer asked. Then we stop. That is the difference between us and them. Jackson straightened his uniform. We will give them a chance to end this peacefully. We will make demands that are reasonable. But if they refuse, He did not finish the sentence. He did not need to. Begin Phase 1, Jackson ordered. Start with the Vexery. They wanted to teach us our place. Let us teach them theirs. The first data packet left Earth 3 hours later. It was aimed at the Vexery Merchant Consortium, the economic heart of their civilization. It contained the personal financial records of every Vexery High adjudicator for the past 200 years, every bribe they had taken, every law they had broken, every credit they had stolen from their own people. The subject line was simple. Day 1. The adjudicator who had ordered Alina Shtun's execution was eating dinner when his personal communicator exploded with messages. His financial records were everywhere. His secret accounts had been exposed. His crimes were playing on every news network in Vexery space. He dropped his fork. His 4 eyes went wide. This is impossible, he whispered. No one could know these things. No one. But someone did know. Someone had been watching. Someone had been waiting, and now the humans had begun to teach the galaxy what happened when you underestimated the small. Emotional creatures from the third planet of an unremarkable star. The Extermination Protocol. It's begun. 3 months after the execution of Ambassador Alina Chen, the Vexery economy collapsed in a single afternoon. It started with the financial records. Within days of their release, Vexery citizens learned that their leaders had been stealing from them for centuries. Protests erupted in every major city. Banks failed as people rushed to withdraw their savings before the government could seize them. But the financial records were only the beginning. The second wave of data revealed something even more devastating. The Vexery religion was the foundation of their entire society. Their priests claimed to speak directly to their gods, and the people obeyed without question. For 10,000 years, this faith had held their civilization together. The data showed that every high priest for the last 800 years had been secretly atheist. They did not believe in the gods they claimed to serve. Internal documents revealed their private communications, laughing at the faithful who followed them. They had invented prophecies to control the population. They had fabricated miracles to maintain power. When this information reached the public, the Vexery did not just protest. They burned their temples to the ground. The High Adjudicator who had ordered Alina Chen's death tried to flee. His own guards turned him over to an angry mob. The news networks did not show what happened next. But everyone knew. Justice, the Vexery style, was not gentle. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. For the first time in centuries, there was fear in the chamber. Is this possible? The Nethrani ambassador demanded. How do the humans have this information? Our encryption is unbreakable. No one had an answer. Before the session could continue, alarms began to sound throughout the Nethrani homeworld. Someone had just released their secrets too. The Nethrani had always prided themselves on their pure bloodline. Their royal family claimed direct descent from their first emperor, untouched by foreign genetics. This purity was sacred to them. It was the foundation of their government, their culture, their identity. The data showed that their beloved royal family had been genetically modified for 7 generations. Scientists had secretly added genes from other species, including the Morvathi, their greatest rivals. The current emperor was less than 60% Nethrani by genetics. Civil war erupted within hours. Traditionalists who valued blood purity fought against reformers who claimed genetics did not matter. Cities burned. Fleets turned on each other. The emperor was placed under arrest by his own military, and still, the humans remained silent. The Morvathi believed they would be spared. They were warriors, not merchants or priests. Their society was built on strength, not faith or bloodlines. What secrets could the humans possibly use against them? They found out when their military databases were published on every network in the galaxy. Every ship position, every base location, every weapon specification, every battle plan, every weakness in their defenses. The Morvathi had conquered 36 species over the past 10,000 years. Those species had been waiting for exactly this kind of opportunity. Within weeks, rebellions erupted across the Morvathi Empire. Slave populations rose up against their masters. Conquered worlds declared independence. The mighty Morvathi military, spread thin across 100 systems, could not respond fast enough. Their empire began to crumble. The council chamber met again and again, but each meeting only made things worse. Species that had been allies for millennia now looked at each other with suspicion. If the humans knew Vexari's secrets, if they knew Nethrani's secrets, if they knew Morvathi's secrets, what else did they know? Trust, the foundation of their alliance, shattered like glass. And then, on the 91st day after Alina Chen's death, a human ship appeared at the edge of council space. It was small, unarmed. It carried a crew of 12 and a single passenger. The passenger requested permission to address the council. Her name was Maya Chen. She was 26 years old. She had her mother's eyes and her mother's smile. The council granted her request. They had no choice. They needed to understand what was happening. They needed to make it stop. Maya walked into the same chamber where her mother had died. She stood on the same platform. She looked up at the same alien faces, though many seats were now empty or occupied by new representatives. The old leaders were dead or imprisoned or hiding. "My name is Maya Chen," she said. Her voice was calm and steady, just like her mother's had been. "I am here to deliver a message from humanity." The remaining council members leaned forward. Finally, they would have answers. "3 months ago, you executed my mother," Maya continued. "You killed her because she offered friendship instead of tribute. You killed her because she would not kneel. You broadcast her death to 8 billion humans and expected us to be afraid." She paused. "We were not afraid. We were angry." She pulled a small device from her pocket. "You have spent 3 months watching your civilizations tear themselves apart. You have lost trillions in wealth. You have lost millions of lives to civil wars and rebellions. You have lost allies in territories and power." Her voice hardened. "And you still do not understand what is happening. So let me explain." She held up the device. "For 100 years, humanity has been monitoring every communication in the galaxy. Every message. Every secret. Every lie. We know things about your species that you do not know about yourselves." The chamber was silent. Complete, absolute silence. "What you have experienced so far is Phase 1 of our extermination protocol. Economic annihilation. This device contains Phase 2, political dissolution. Personal secrets of every council member, affairs, assassinations, secret alliances, crimes that would turn your own people against you." She set the device on the podium. "In 30 days, this data will automatically release to every network in the galaxy. Your political systems will collapse just as your economies have collapsed. Your governments will fall. Your leaders will face justice from their own people." A Nethrani representative found his voice. "What do you want? Credits? Territory? We will give you anything." Maya shook her head. "We do not want your money. We do not want your planets. We want 3 things." She held up one finger. "First, full membership in the Galactic Council for Humanity. Not in 1,000 years. Now, with a permanent seat and full voting rights." Second finger. "A formal apology broadcast to every inhabited world in the galaxy for the wrongful execution of Ambassador Alina Chen. A memorial statue of my mother placed in this chamber where everyone can see it." The representatives looked at each other. These demands were humiliating but not impossible. After everything that had happened, they had expected much worse. "If we agree," the Nethrani representative said slowly, "you will delete this data? You will stop the attacks?" "Yes." Maya's voice was simple and direct. "We do not want to destroy you. We want to be treated as equals. Give us that, and this ends." She turned to leave, then stopped. "Oh, I almost forgot. I also included Phase 3 on the device. You should review it before making your decision." "Phase 3? Someone asked. "What is Phase 3? Maya smiled her mother's smile. "Cultural obsolescence. We release every technological secret of every council species to every civilization in the galaxy. Every advantage you have disappears overnight. Every species you have oppressed gains the power to challenge you." She walked toward the exit. Phase 3 does not just hurt you. It makes you irrelevant. It erases your place in history. 1,000 years from now, no one will remember that you ever mattered. She paused at the door. You have 30 days to decide. Choose wisely. Maya Chen left the chamber. Behind her, the most powerful beings in the galaxy sat in stunned silence, realizing for the first time that they were no longer in control. The humans had not fired a single weapon. They had not killed a single person. And yet, they had brought the Galactic Council to its knees. The countdown had begun. The Galactic Council had ruled the stars for 50,000 years. In all that time, they had never surrendered. They had never apologized. They had never admitted weakness to any species, young or old. Now, they had 30 days to decide between their pride and their survival. The debates began immediately after. Some representatives wanted to accept the human demands. The cost was humiliating but manageable. A statue, an apology, a council seat. These were small prices to pay for survival. Others refused to consider surrender. The Morvathi military commander slammed his fist on his console. We are warriors. We do not bow to insects who cannot even build proper warships. Give me authorization, and I will reduce their planet to ash. With what fleet? The Nethrani ambassador asked coldly. Half your ships are fighting rebellions. The other half are guarding your remaining territories. You do not have the forces for an invasion.
Then we combine our fleets.
All council species together? Surely we can crush one small planet. The chamber erupted in argument. Trust between species had shattered. No one was willing to send their ships to fight alongside former allies who might turn on them at any moment. While the council argued, the younger species of the galaxy watched carefully. For thousands of years, they had lived under council rule. They had paid tribute. They had obeyed laws they had no voice in creating. They had accepted their place because they believed the council was too powerful to challenge. Now they saw the truth. The council was not invincible. A single young species had exposed their weaknesses and brought them to the edge of collapse. Messages began arriving at Earth's diplomatic channels. The Tarathi wanted to discuss trade agreements. The Seleni offered scientific exchange programs. The Vrex asked about military alliances. Dozens of species that had never spoken to humanity suddenly wanted to be friends. The galaxy was changing. The old order was dying, and everyone wanted to be on the right side of history. On the 15th day, the council made a desperate decision. If they could not defeat humanity with ships, they would defeat them with shadows. The Cathari were legends. Ancient assassins who had existed before the council itself was formed. They had no homeworld, no government, no allegiance, except to those who paid their price. For 10,000 years they had completed every contract they accepted. No target had ever escaped them. The council pooled their remaining resources and contacted the Cathari. The contract was simple. Eliminate human leadership and destroy the network that held their secrets. The Cathari accepted. They always accepted. Their ships were invisible to every sensor known to galactic science. They slipped past Earth's orbital defenses without triggering a single alarm. They landed on Luna Earth's moon, where intelligence indicated the human network was centered. The facility was hidden beneath the lunar surface, protected by layers of rock and metal. The Cathari cut through these defenses like water through sand. They moved in perfect silence, killing guards before they could raise alarms. Finally, they reached the central chamber, the heart of the human network. The place where all the secrets were stored. Maya Chen was waiting for them. She sat alone in the middle of the empty room. No guards, no weapons. Just a young woman in a simple chair, smiling at the deadliest assassins in the galaxy. You are 17 months too late, she said. The Cathari leader stepped forward. His species had no face in the traditional sense, just a smooth surface that reflected light like dark water. Explain. Our archivists predicted this attack 17 months ago. We knew the council would eventually hire you. We knew you would breach our defenses. We knew you would come to this exact room. Aya gestured at the empty space around them. So we moved? Moved where? Everywhere. Maya stood up slowly. The network you came to destroy does not exist in one place. It never did. The archivists are distributed across every human ship, every colony, every data device, carried by every human in the galaxy. There are 8 billion of us. We are the network. She walked toward the Cathari leader. He did not move. Neither did his soldiers. They were trained to show no reaction, but something in her confidence unsettled them. You cannot destroy our network without destroying humanity itself. And if you kill every human, the data releases automatically. Phase 2, Phase 3, everything we know about every species in the galaxy, flooding every network simultaneously. Maya stopped directly in front of the leader. The Council did not send you to save themselves. They sent you to die with them. You could be lying. I could be. Maya reached into her pocket. The Cathari tensed, but she only pulled out a small data chip. This contains your files. The leader's smooth face rippled slightly. Our files? Every contract you have completed for the past 3,000 years? Every client. Every target. Every payment. I held out the chip, including the details of what the Council planned to do after you completed this mission. The leader did not take the chip. What did they plan? They planned to betray you. Once humanity was destroyed, they intended to release your locations to every species you have ever harmed. They would let your enemies hunt you down. No witnesses. No one to remember that the Council hired assassins. Maya set the chip on the ground between them. We are offering you a choice. You can complete your contract and die with the Council. Or you can read these files, understand who your true enemies are, and walk away. The Cathari leader stood motionless for a long moment. His soldiers waited in perfect silence. Finally, he bent down and picked up the chip. We will review this information, he said. His voice betrayed nothing. Take your time. Maya sat back down in her chair. But I should mention that day 28 is tomorrow. If the Council does not accept our terms by day 30, Phase 2 activates automatically. I recommend you make your decision before then. Theri left as silently as they had arrived. Maya waited until she was sat. They were gone, then let out a long breath. Her hands were trembling. She had been terrified the entire time, but they did not need to know that. On day 29, the Council received 2 messages. The first was from the Cathari. They were withdrawing from the contract. No explanation was given. The payment would not be returned. The second was from Earth. It was brief. Tomorrow, Phase 2 activates automatically unless we receive your decision. This is your final warning. The message was signed, Humanity. There was a postscript. We included Phase 3 on Maya's chip as well. You should review it before deciding. Phase 3 is the one where we make the entire galaxy forget you ever existed. The Council chamber was in chaos. The Cathari had failed. Their last hope was gone. Phase 2 would expose every dirty secret of every remaining leader. Phase 3 would destroy their technological advantages forever, for the first time in 50,000 years. The rulers of the galaxy understood what it meant to be powerless. The vote was called for the next morning. They had 12 hours to decide the fate of their civilizations. That night, no one slept. Representatives contacted their homeworlds. Leaders consulted with advisors. Prayers were offered to gods who had been silent for millennia. And on Earth, Maya Chen stood at a window in the command center, looking up at the stars. Do you think they will accept? Someone asked her. Maya thought about her mother. She thought about the smile Alina had worn in her final moments. She thought about the words she had spoken to a galaxy that refused to listen. It does not matter what they decide, Maya said quietly. Either way, we win. Either they accept our terms and we become equals, or they refuse and their empires collapse. The galaxy will never be the same. She touched the glass, her reflection ghostly against the stars. Mother did not die for revenge. She died for change. And change is coming, whether they accept it or not. The countdown continued. 11 hours remained. The council chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from 12 species sat in their floating seats, waiting for the vote that would decide the fate of civilizations. Outside, the galaxy held its breath. The Nethrani ambassador called the session to order. His voice was tired. They were all tired. 30 days of watching their empires crumble had drained something vital from even the proudest among them. "We are here to vote on the human ultimatum," he said. "The terms are known to all. Full council membership for humanity. A formal apology broadcast to all worlds. A memorial statue for Ambassador Alina Chen in this chamber." He paused. "If we accept, the data releases stop. If we refuse, Phase 2 activates in 3 hours, followed by Phase 3. Our political systems collapse. Our technological advantages disappear. Everything we have built becomes meaningless." He looked around the chamber. "The vote will proceed by species. State your position." The Tarathi voted first. They were a young species themselves, granted membership only 2,000 years ago. "We accept the human terms," Selene followed. "We accept." One by one, the species voted. The Vrex accepted. The Morvathi, their empire already burning, accepted through gritted teeth. The Nethrani accepted. 8 species voted to accept. 3 abstained, unwilling to openly support either side, and 1 species voted against. The Vexery, what remained of their delegation, was led by a young female who had risen through the chaos of their civil war. She stood alone in a chamber that had once held dozens of her kind. "We vote no," she said. Her voice shook with rage. "The humans destroyed us. They turned our people against each other. They burned our temples and murdered our leaders. We will not surrender to them. We will not apologize. We would rather die." The chamber was silent. Everyone understood her anger. The Vexery had lost more than any other species. Their economy, their religion, their government, their pride, everything that made them who they were had been stripped away. But her vote did not matter. 8 species had voted to accept. The motion passed. The Nethrani ambassador lowered his head. "The council accepts the human terms. Transmit our decision to Earth." The message reached humanity moments later. In the command center, cheers erupted. Soldiers embraced. Officers wept. They had done it. They had brought the galaxy's rulers to their knees without firing a single weapon. Maya Chen did not celebrate. She watched the celebration with quiet eyes, thinking about what came next. The ceremony took place 1 week later. Representatives from every council species gathered in the Great Chamber. News drones broadcast 2 trillion of viewers across the galaxy. This would be the most watched event in recorded history. A statue of Alina Chen was unveiled in the center of the chamber. It showed her standing tall, her chin lifted, her eyes looking toward the stars. A plaque at the base read, "She offered friendship. She was answered with death. Her people answered with something greater." The formal apology was read by the Nethrani ambassador. He spoke of regret and misunderstanding, of lessons learned and bridges to be built. The words were diplomatic and carefully chosen. They meant nothing. What mattered was that they were spoken at all. Finally, Maya Chen was called forward to accept humanity's seat on the council. She walked to the platform where her mother had died and looked up at the assembled species. "Thank you for your welcome," she said simply. Then she did something no one expected. She stepped down from the platform and walked directly to the Vexery delegatio. And the young female who had voted against humanity stiffened. Her guards moved to protect her. They expected an attack, an insult, some form of final humiliation. Maya stopped in front of her and bowed slightly. "I am sorry for your losses." The Vexery female stared at her. "What? Your people have suffered greatly. Your economy has collapsed. Your faith has been shaken. Millions have died in the chaos." Maya's voice was gentle. "I am sorry." "You caused this," the female said. Her voice cracked. "You destroyed everything we had." "Yes," Maya did not look away. "We did. And I am sorry it was necessary." She reached into her pocket and pulled out a data chip. The Vexery guards tensed, but Maya simply held it out. This contains specifications for agricultural technology that will help feed your people, medical advances that will save lives, economic models that will help rebuild your markets.
8.
There are no strings attached, no tribute required. This is a gift. The Vexery female did not take the chip. Why? Why would you help us after everything that happened? Maya thought about her mother. She thought about the final transmission, about the words Alina had spoken before she died. They did not ask our names. They did not ask about our children. Because my mother did not come here to make enemies, Maya said. She came here to make friends. You were not ready then. Maybe you will be now. She placed the chip on the table in front of the Vexery delegation and walked away. The chamber was silent. Everyone had expected humanity to gloat, to demand further concessions, to grind their defeated enemies into dust. Instead, they offered help. It was somehow more unsettling than any threat. The ceremony ended. The council returned to business, though nothing would ever be the same. Humanity had a seat at the table now. Their voice would be heard in every decision. Their vote would count in every matter. But more importantly, the younger species of the galaxy watched what humanity had done. They had seen a species stand up to ancient powers and win. They had seen that the old order could be challenged. They had seen that change was possible in the years that followed. Everything shifted. The council remained, but its power was no longer absolute. Younger species demanded greater representation. Trade agreements were renegotiated. Oppressive laws were challenged and changed. The Vexery slowly began to rebuild. They accepted human aid, though it took them years to overcome their pride. A new generation grew up learning about the humans who had destroyed their old world and helped build a new one. Some called the humans monsters. Others called them saviors. Most did not know what to call them at all. 10 years after the execution of Alina Chen, a young Vexery historian traveled to Earth. He wanted to create a documentary about First Contact, about the events that had reshaped the galaxy. He requested an interview with Maya Chen, who was now serving as Earth's permanent representative to the council. She agreed to meet him. They sat in her office. Looking out at the blue sky of Earth, the historian asked many questions about the extermination protocol, about the archivists, about the 30 days that changed everything. Finally, he asked the question that had haunted him since he began his research. What was humanity's true goal? Revenge for your mother? Power over the council? Domination of the galaxy? Maya was quiet for a long moment. When she spoke, her voice was soft. We wanted what we always wanted. We wanted to matter. We wanted to be seen. She turned to look at him. When your council killed my mother for speaking to you as equals, we made sure the galaxy would never look away from us again. She paused, choosing her next words carefully. Your people executed our ambassador for offering friendship, so we became something you could not ignore. We showed you that we were not children to be dismissed. We showed you that we could bring your empires down without firing a single shot. She smiled, and for a moment, she looked exactly like her mother. But here's the secret that no one understands. The extermination protocol was never about destroying you. The historian leaned forward. Then what was it about? Maya turned back to the window, looking up at the sky where the stars waited. It was about exterminating the idea that humanity could ever be dismissed again. We did not want to end your civilizations. We wanted to end the belief that you could ignore us, mistreat us, kill our people without consequence. She was quiet for a moment, then added, we helped the Vexery rebuild because destruction was never the point. Recognition was the point. Respect was the point. Being seen as equals was the point. The historian thought about everything he had learned. The execution, the protocol, the collapse, the mercy, and now. He asked, now that you have achieved all of this, what does humanity want? Maya laughed softly. It was a warm sound, full of hope rather than bitterness. Now we want what my mother always wanted. We want to explore the stars. We want to learn from other species and share what we know. We want to build something better than what came before. She looked at him directly. We want to make friends. Real friends this time. The kind who see us for what we are and accept us anyway. The historian finished his documentary. It was broadcast across the galaxy and watched by billions. People debated its meaning for years. But one moment stood out above all others. It was Maya's final words, spoken as she looked up at the stars. They thought we were children playing at civilization. They learned we were something far more dangerous. Adults who remembered every slight, fought back with everything we had, and then offered mercy when we won. She smiled her mother's smile. That is the human condition. We do not forget. We do not surrender. But we also do not destroy what we can rebuild. We believe in second chances, even for those who gave us none. That is who we are. That is who we will always be. And now, finally, the galaxy knows it too. The screen faded to black. The documentary ended. And across the stars, trillions of beings thought about the small, emotional species from an unremarkable planet who had changed everything. Humanity had arrived, and the galaxy would never be the same.